Middle of the Pack podcast.
Well, it's like you can have your dinos, obviously not every night and not every weekend, or you'll be making no progress, but like a few clever swaps. Like sometimes I'll get the dinos chips and I'll do the roast chicken at home with it and a bit of coleslaw or something. So you're still getting your chipper, but you're getting your high protein, and you can track it and you can still stay on progress, and you haven't ruined the whole day,
Welcome to episode 17 of the Middle of the Pack podcast, and that's our guest for this week, Caroline Coffey. What a great chat we've had. That clip is a snippet of what we've had, where we've talked about marathon running, we've talked about her personal training business, talked about all the kind of dietary mix and match that you can have and still maintain a healthy lifestyle. It was a very informative chat, and I hope you will enjoy it. We'll start with Caroline talking about her personal training business, Caroline Coffey Coaching.
Caroline Coffey Coaching. I mainly coach women through weight loss, and I suppose for years I struggled with weight loss, and I did every kind of fad diet, like shake diets and Atkins and giving up carbs and everything. That's the kind of culture we grew up in the 90s as well, told that skinny was the best thing to do, and nothing about strength training and like that. So I suppose when I learned myself then that it is much easier than we think to kind of, lose weight while having all the nice things and, not having to be in the gym 5 days a week and stuff like that. So that's what I'm passionate about, teaching other women to do that then as well. So we do like challenges, 8-week challenges for weight loss. I do one-to-one coaching. I have my own app, and we do live workouts from home. So it's mostly like busy moms that would be availing of it.
And is that your full-time job? Obviously, I know you've got kids as well, so that's another full-time job. But
yeah, I used to work in bid management, and I worked in the engineering sector for 20 odd years. And when I left, I kind of trialed it out when I was on maternity leave with my babies. I said, that's a good time now to kind of I was doing the coaching on the side, and then I kind of went all in when I was, when I had that opportunity of being on maternity leave for 6 months. I kind of went all in, and then I realized I love this and that's what I'm going to do. So I packed in the job eventually, because I was doing the two at once for a long time, and it was quite hard going because I used to work mornings in my other job, but that job was quite stressful, demanding. I have to work to deadlines all the time, so it's very hard to kind of close the laptop and then open up my other laptop and to go into coaching, which takes a lot of energy from me as well. So I had to kind of just choose one eventually. So after like 2 years of that, I went fully into coaching then, and no regrets.
it's paying off anyway, so you're able to make ends meet.
Yeah, do you know, some people, like when I meet people from my old job, they say like, how are you getting on and do you love it, whatever. And I said, the one thing is like, on a Sunday night when you get that Glenroe feeling, I don't get that anymore. Which is a good sign that you love your job, because every day is like, I'm like, oh, tomorrow's Monday, doing a live workout in the morning, chatting to lovely women. So it's a dream job, to be honest. And when I did the PT course, I actually never intended to work in it. I just did the course kind of because I was in the gym, and I kind of was just curious about like why my PT was doing this exercise with this one or whatever. And I just went for my own knowledge, which apparently a lot of people do and then turn into PTs. But as part of the course, you have to personally train people. And I was like, oh, I love doing this now. And then I just got hooked. And I was like, this is what I actually want to do every day.
Yeah, it is amazing because like we have our own business. We have a shop in town at Unbound. I don't know if you know it, but I haven't heard the phrase "the Glenroe feeling" on a Sunday night. But yeah, I used to work for IKEA, and it used to just like nearly every evening, the thought of going in and having to do meetings and having to do presentations just drive me crazy. And now, I don't have that anymore. And running has freed up another, I don't know, cleared my mind even more, which is fantastic, But
exactly, and that's the great thing about being self-employed. Then is you can kind of fit your runs in and be more flexible as well.
Yeah,
working for someone else.
Well, obviously, there's probably lots of people listening that don't have our luxuries, but
exactly, yeah.
Like we just did marathon training, and I've said this before. I don't know how people manage training blocks, kids, jobs.
Yeah,
it's massive. You just did a marathon as well. You did Dublin as well, didn't you?
I just did Dublin Marathon, my first one ever, yeah. And like I'd have a lot of women asking me, like, "Oh, I'm kind of tempted to do it now. Do you think I should?" So I've like three very small kids, and I'm like, I kind of nearly regret it in a way that I didn't wait a bit longer because I was like, it's really hard when the kids are that small because I have twins that are three, and when I'm going out for a run, they're like literally pinned up against the window, bawling, crying, and I'm there reversing out to drive, going, "Oh my God, I feel so bad." And my husband is training for a marathon as well. He did Limerick this year for his
Yeah.
first one ever. So I think the two of us must be going through a midlife crisis or something.
But listen, you did and I thought it was fabulous. You did a post on comparison is the thief of joy. I just thought that was brilliant, and just talk me through that because I thought it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
I just put up that, you know, the way when you're feeling all the emotions after the marathon, I put that post up and it actually went viral on TikTok. And I'm still getting loads of messages on it every day. I actually have to mute it because I like my Instagram's gone mad from it. But it was kind of like, you know, when I got over the line, I was ecstatic. I was so emotional. I was bawling, crying. I was like, I actually can't believe I just did that. I got through it because the weather and everything was horrendous that day. And it just was a really tough run for me. And then I came home and like I went on Instagram and I heard people saying like, "Oh, I kind of took it easy today and I got it done in 4 hours, a bit disappointed with that time." And I was like, I did it in 5 hours and 50 and I was super proud of myself. And this person is disappointed at 4 hours saying they took it easy. And it kind of just took away from it for me. And I was kind of like feeling the crap. And then, you know, people be like, "How'd you get on?" And I was like, "Oh, grand." They'd be like, "What time did you do it in?" It's like the first thing they say is like, and I've heard people before saying, "Oh, I heard like a good time for a marathon is like 3 hours, is it?" And I'm like, "No, that's elite. Like, like
Yeah, yeah,
getting it done in 3 hours, like getting it done in 4 hours, 5 hours is unreal, not mind 3 hours." So people just don't understand the non-running community, I suppose. So yeah, it kind of took a bit from me, and I was a bit disappointed then that the next day. And you know, when you're wrecked and dehydrated and everything, anyway, I suppose all the emotions. So I was a bit upset over it. But the minute I put that up, the amount of people and comments and support from strangers like all over the world, there's people in Mexico, America, ever texting me going, "You did unreal, like you're part of the 1%, like most people don't even finish." And I've seen another lady, she said she's tried marathon 3 times and she's yet to finish it, but she's going to try again. And that kind of really inspired me. I'm like, oh my God, it was actually an achievement to finish it. And I didn't even realize that because I think with
yeah,
social media nowadays, the focus is on, oh, what time did you do? And it's not the focus of like, you actually ran a marathon, you're a superstar, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So I think it was important to show the people that follow me as well that like, you know, I'm a personal trainer. I'm probably considered really fit in the industry. Like I'm doing my live classes all the time. I'm always in the gym or whatever. But I find running really hard all the time. Like I'm always struggling with my runs. Like I never go out and go, "God, that was a really easy run out." Do you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I even find because I have a coach, I'm not elite, and one of the reasons I set up the podcast was to celebrate the everyday runner, everyday person, just doing the ordinary. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
not about, well, it is a little bit about personal best, but it's about your personal best. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the comparison is the thief of joy. I had heard that, but I thought, because I'm just talking a bit about myself now, which isn't, but I remember I was kind of going for a time and I didn't get it, but I was still 12 minutes faster than Cork, which was my first. But I was almost disappointed about the whole thing. And your post
Wow. Yeah.
just gave me that whole, hang on a second, it's not about, it's not about breaking barriers. It's just, yeah, just trying to do your
Yeah.
best, really, do you know?
I know. And like when I was training, like going by my times in training, I was like, I'll be lucky to get it within 6 hours. Like it was so hard. And then I actually got it in like 5:50. So that was
Brilliant.
probably good. Like if I had thought about that like weeks before, I would have been delighted with myself. But like during the race, like it started off really well up until about 19K. And I think a lot of people say this with Dublin. Once you hit like 19K, we're going, God, my time is actually not too bad. And maybe I could do it within 5 hours. And I was kind of getting excited, but whatever. It's all a bit of a blur after that. I don't know what happened. I think the wind and the rain and everything came in. I started getting like cut toes and blisters, and it was a bit of a disaster. But like from there on, it was struggle city. But
Yeah.
I'm proud that I got over the line. You know?
But it's amazing the crowds, how they boost you and encourage you, and because Cork is a lovely marathon, but there's lots of lonely parts in it, where you're running on your own, particularly when the mind monsters after the half marathon stage or, the 20-mile stage. But no, Dublin I
Yeah.
thought was great for just that. I don't know, there was just people everywhere
Oh
all
my
the
God,
time.
the sport was continuous. Like from the start, everyone was out and they were young and really old, like people in their 80s in their robes coming out and they'd be looking at your name and saying, "Well done, Caroline." And I was like, "Thanks, Lillian." I was like so excited. I was saying thanks to everyone, like for the first maybe 10, 20 kilometers. And then after that, I had to put the head down. I was like, I can't even look at anyone. But the music stations along the way were really cool. Like I did the radio stations and stuff had the music blaring and there was girls out dancing and they were like, "Come on." But like the one person I really remember, I was towards the end, I think I had about 3 or 4 kilometers left, which seemed like another marathon at that stage for me to get
Yeah.
done. Because everything was hurting. And this woman came out and she was like, "Come on, you can do it." And she really like roared into my face. And I just started crying. I was like, "Oh my God." And then I got a message from my friend saying, "I'm watching you and I'm so proud of you." And I started bawling because that popped up on my phone. And I messaged her after and I was like, "You actually got me through it because I saw your message pop up when I really was struggling." And then I just drove on. And my husband was on the course as well, handing me out Lucasade Sports and stuff. But I got to a stage where I was like, "I can't even drink anything else. You're grand." Because the creator was running around trying to meet me at certain points in the rain and he was getting soaked. But it was just such an amazing experience. I loved it. When like at the time I was like, "I'm never doing it ever again." But then when you have a bit of time to recover, you reflect back and you're like, "God, that was amazing." You
Yeah.
know?
I can imagine if the weather was a little bit better, it would have been even fantastic altogether. But
Yeah,
the
because I
beginning,
did the Cork half marathon during the summer, and the weather was unreal for that, and all the kids were out with the hoses and stuff like that, and it was just completely different experience.
yeah,
So I'm actually signed up to do the Cork marathon
the full
this year.
marathon. Oh well, yeah, we're doing the half. We did the full this year, but we're doing the half. We did the half the year before, but we're going to do the half again, and then do Dublin full marathon. I'm confidently saying we're going to do it if we get the tickets. Yeah, we'll do it. But she had an injury, so she could only run half a marathon. So she ran half the marathon with me, which was great. But then
Fab.
I said this in this week's episode. She left me at halfway, which was the plan. But she was, it was just a funny emotion. Like, and I was going, I'm going to see her. But I don't know why I got so emotional after she left. But it was just, but marathons do that. I think they just,
I
you know,
know.
so much emotion, so much emotion.
Yeah, because I wouldn't even be like a hugely emotional person, but I was just crying at everything. And I compared it afterwards. Everyone on Instagram was laughing. I compared it to childbirth because when I had my first child, I was like, I remember texting my sister and all going, "How the hell did you do this 4 times? I'm never doing this again. It was the worst ever and so much pain." And then 2 days later, it's like I kind of blocked that out. And I just remember all the happy bits. And I was like, "Oh, that was the most amazing experience ever." Whatever. And I was exactly the same with the marathon. Like
Yeah.
everyone was saying to me, "You're going to do another one." I was like, "No, you actually have no idea. That was the worst thing ever. I'm never putting myself through that again." I was like bawling, crying. And then a few days later, I was like, "Oh, sure, I have the ticket for Cork Marathon now, so I'm going to do that."
It's just a little warmer, but it's still great. And it's nice to do it in Cork as well, you know. But
Yes.
how did you start? I mean, I know, obviously, you're coaching and doing all your PT, but starting the running, was it a gradual thing or you didn't jump straight into a half
So the
marathon?
last, no, I'd say since around 2009 or so, I kind of started around then, like maybe 2010, like, before you get married, you kind of start into your fitness and stuff. So I'd never been in the gym or running or anything up to then. So I kind of started just, doing a few K here and there. And I was like that for years, to be honest, never pushed past 5K really. And I was just never a consistent runner. Like I'd do it for a while and then not do it again. And like, it might be a wet day and I'd be like, "Oh, I won't go out now today," whatever. And then leave it go for another few months and go to the gym and whatever. So I was never really hugely consistent with it. When I was pregnant with the twins then in 22, I really missed it. Like I missed the running more than the gym or anything like that. And it was just the fact that you can't run.
Mm,
Like I had a pelvic girdle as well, so I couldn't even go for walks and stuff like that. It was really like bedbound for the pregnancy. And the one thing I missed out of everything was running. And I think it's that freedom of going to the park, like I live near the regional park, and just going to the park and getting that fresh air and stuff. Because I don't actually enjoy walking. Like I have this kind of adrenaline rush or something that I always have to be going. So I
Yeah.
find running is just easier to do than walking. I find walking kind of frustrating. I always just want to go into a run. So I really missed it. And then when I had the boys, I decided I was like getting back into it straight away. And it was literally like starting from scratch. And it was only around this time last year that I decided to sign up for a marathon. And I signed up for Cork Marathon last year. And like at this time last year, I remember Christmas last year, I struggled to do a 5K without stopping. Like that's where I kind of was when I started. Did the training plan, and then I had to do a surgery in March. So that made me like had to cancel the Cork Marathon. So I changed my ticket to a half marathon ticket. And instead, then I said I'd sign up for Dublin Marathon because it gave me that extra bit of time from June to October to train more and recover from the surgery.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And then it just still kind of was in my head, like, I really want to run the Jack Lynch Tunnel. So I was like, I really want to do the Cork one. I just think it'd be cool. And then the fact that I really enjoyed the Cork half last year, so I decided to sign up for that. And of course, now I'm kind of thinking as well, I'd love to do the Dingle one sometime as well, because that sounds just epic.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've
So
got the
yeah, I
bug.
can see where you get, hmm?
You've got the bug.
Yeah, I can see where you get the bug then you see, because you're like, oh, maybe I'll do this one.
But the half marathons, I go from I kind of sway from one to the other. But half
Yeah.
marathons, once you start, is a nice distance, and you can actually probably fit a few more of them in without ruining your life. Like, but the minute then you start saying, "Oh, I'll only do the half for Cork," I got the itch for Dublin. you still want to do a
I
marathon
know.
because well, at
Yeah.
my age, I don't want to stop, because I want to keep moving and keeping able to do it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And there's lots of pros and cons to it as well. Like, obviously, it's such an enjoyable thing, but then it is so time consuming. Like, I really didn't enjoy from once, when in the training block, when you get to like the late 20 kilometers and you're kind of into the 30s, I never really enjoyed all that part then because I just found it so hard to do. And actually, I had this bit of a kind of online debate one night on Instagram because I asked people, like, someone said to me, you should never run more than 3 hours when you're training because you won't recover. So, because my long runs, like my 32K, whatever, was taking me like 4.5 hours or something, people were advising me you shouldn't actually hit that amount. So, I was asking people and I was asking like running coaches and, other PTs and stuff like that, and just general people who ran loads of marathons. And it was about 50-50 that came back saying, no, you need to actually run that amount to get the mindset right.
And
So
miles in
because
your
going
legs.
into going into 42.2, having never done, you know, more than 3 hours means 20 something kilometers. So I just made the decision that I was better off pushing on to 32 just so that mentally I could say, okay, I've hit 32. It's not that much, well, it is a bit further, but
Yeah.
it just helped me a lot because I remember when I was training for the Cork half marathon last year, I had done a half marathon in training. And I think it really helped me psychologically going, do you know what? I've done this before. So it's fine. It's a case of just doing it again. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if I had never pushed past 20 something kilometers, I don't think I would have done it. Do you know?
Yeah. I think that was
It's,
my biggest mind monster for marathon was that for a half marathon, you do a half marathon in training. And yeah, no, I was worried. It was almost like the wall for me once I got over in the marathon itself. Once I went beyond 32 kilometers, I was going, I haven't done this before, and I hope I'm going to be
yeah.
okay. I feel okay, and I was almost talking myself into not being okay. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know I don't know the right answer. But from everything that people talk to me, it's the training is all about getting the miles in your legs, and within the week you're almost doing way more than a marathon. So then when you taper, so my coach was always just giving me uh, miles or kilometers, on a long run. He never came back and said you're running 3 hours or 4 hours, or do you know what I mean? He just put the
Yeah.
miles in my legs, and I think that probably obviously stood to you in the end because you finished
Yeah.
faster
I
than you
think so.
thought you'd finish as well, didn't you? Obviously.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. And like I ran for majority, but I had to do lots of toilet breaks and stuff like that, which kind of threw me a little bit as well. Lots of things kind of threw me, but I actually think the biggest struggle I had was the stress leading up to it. So like actually going to Dublin, like trying to organize the kids and packing stuff. And the way you have to pack up all the carbs and everything for the day. And then when I was in Dublin, the stress of kind of trying to get out to the RDS and back, and my steps were high. And then I was like, I haven't eaten enough carbs, and I started panicking about that. So like even before I got over the start line, my heart rate was really high
Yeah, yeah,
compared to like if I was digging in Cork, you literally just get dropped to, to
yeah,
the place in Cork and that's it, you're the start line. So I do think traveling adds such an extra stress. That's
yeah.
kind of why I want to do Cork as well, because I feel like all that stress will be removed. Plus, like with Dublin, you're walking for ages before you get to the start line, and all
Uh,
that was completely new to me. I didn't know where I was. I was following the crowd. I was asking everyone. I was panicking about the toilets. But again, if I was to do that now again next year, I'd be like, I'm after learning loads, because I was like panicking, queuing for a big toilet. And then a girl came along. She was like, there's loads of toilets right up to the finish line. And I was like, oh my God, is there? Because I was queuing way back. And I think everyone else was as well,
mm.
thinking that was the last toilets. But yeah, I didn't even get to warm up. Usually I'd go to the side and I do all my stretches and stuff like that. But I was literally walking right up until the start line and that was it. And it was so cold in as well.
But I also like on your social media that, there's the odd post with a glass of wine and a glass of Coors, and you do seem to be able to balance. There was even one with a Dino's bag, and I was going, is
Oh,
she?
I love Dino's. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm such a fan. And that's why, like, I'm always kind of teaching women that, like, you can have the balance as well. Like,
Yeah,
you don't have to give up takeaways forever. Because anytime I ever did a diet in the past, and if you have to kind of give up everything, I would just get so miserable. I'd actually nearly feel depressed, feeling like there's no joy in life because literally I think about food all day long. Like, I wake up in the morning and be like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner today? Or when I go into bed at night, I'll actually get excited about like my breakfast the next morning or my coffee the next morning. I'm constantly thinking about food. So it's really important that we have that balance because you can still lose weight and you can still get strong in the gym and you can still run a marathon when you're having your glass of Coors Light or whatever. I know I'm throwing up a picture of my Coors Light, but I might have one or two pints
oh,
on a Sunday. And my husband loves them as well. Like I don't go on the tear anymore or anything like that because I wouldn't be
yeah,
able
yeah,
with the kids. I wouldn't be able anyway now because I'm 42 and just, the way things change. Back in my 20s, not a bother. But yeah, I do think it's important to have that balance. Like we love going out for a meal with the family, like getting a roast dinner or something like that, have my 2 pints. I love having a pint with my dad. He's the same as me. So I think things like that are really important, not to be miserable going, no, I'm gonna have water now because I'm on a diet or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So that's the message I want to send to people as well, is like you can have your dinos, obviously not every night and not every weekend or even making no progress, but like a few clever swaps. Like sometimes I'll get the Dino's chips and I'll do the roast chicken at home with it and a bit of coleslaw or something. So you're still getting your chipper, but you're getting, your high protein and you can track it and you can still stay on progress and, you haven't ruined the whole day, like.
yeah, yeah. You do a
So,
lot of recipes as well on your thing, which is good because I think a lot of people don't know really. I mean, even that
yeah.
I was
And,
going.
some,
That's a great
that's
tip because sometimes the chipper is all about the chips, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like I love my burgers now, but like a burger at home is savage as well. So if you get the chipper chips, like sometimes I'll be like to my husband, Tiger, like you get the chips, I'll cook the burgers at home. Because sometimes you want the kids to have the homemade burgers and stuff as well. Do you know that kind of
Yeah,
way?
yeah,
And just, do you know the way sometimes if you got like a large chips in some of the chippers there in Ballincollig, anyway, you get a large chips and it would feed like 4 people.
yeah. I know. Freeze them and
Yeah.
use them again.
Yeah, so yeah, it's nice to have that and just to teach the kids as well, like that you don't have to be like thinking food is good or bad, or like I'd never be like, oh no, you can't have that. That's really bad food. I'm like, yeah, you can have that, but just have your yogurt first, and then you can have your lollipop, or whatever. I'm just trying to really teach that because obviously when we grew up, the mentality around dieting was really toxic. Like women had to be really skinny, size zero models. And I remember like when I was growing up in the 80s, 90s, the magazines that were out at the time were like pointing at women saying, look at the state of her and that kind of way. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to kind of undo that, I suppose. And I have undone that kind of damage in my own head, but now I'm just trying to teach the ladies that doing my challenge that you can have balance and you don't have to like do hours in the gym. You can just do your workouts at home, get movement in, and just generally improve your food and just have that balance. As my mom always says, you can have a bit of everything.
absolutely. It is about keeping a
Yeah.
balance, but you also, I don't know if it was the Dino's post, but there was another post. I remember you talked about it, people saying, I don't have the energy to go for a run or to do a workout, but the point that you make, I think, is that when you do actually do the workout or you do actually do the run, you get the energy, and that's
Absolutely. Yeah. Like even yesterday morning, I had to go for a run and I really didn't want to because I hate running in the cold. I don't know if you're the same,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
cold really turns me off going because I'm like such a cold creature anyway. And I was like, oh God, I hate this now. But I made myself do it and I got it done. It was intervals, which I always kind of dread. When I came back in and had the shower, I was absolutely buzzing for the day because I was so proud of myself. So making myself do that just really helped my energy and it makes me more productive even when I was pregnant, when energy was really low, because because I know now that exercising gives me energy, I would just do a little bit of exercise when I was pregnant, even 15 minutes, just lifting a few dumbbells and stuff, and it would give me more energy for the day. So
Yeah,
it's not about like aesthetics all the time. It's just about like your mind and, what it does for you as well.
absolutely. And do you find, balancing with kids and life, how do you work that out?
Yeah, like it is really hard. And sometimes, like, you might have a run planned or something like that. And then, your daughter might be home from school or something like that, or one of the kids might be sick. And then you're like, oh, I'm home now. And like my husband might be at work. So I'm like, I can't go for a run now today. And you have to adjust things. But sometimes, like, when everyone comes home, then because I get annoyed at myself if I don't get my run in, I might go out at like 8 p.m. in the evening when everyone's at home and relaxed or whatever. I'll be like, I'm just going out for a quick run there now. And like I'll drive somewhere that's safe because that's another thing. Like you can't just go out and run the roads wherever you live. Like I'd have to drive into the town and go where it's lit up. But it's actually enjoyable because then when you come home, you're just so proud of yourself for getting it done. Whereas if I didn't get it done and left to go into the next day and I know that I'd have something else on, like I teach a live or whatever the next day, and I'm like, that's too much then the next day. So I kind of know that I have to get it done. So it's really good. And that's kind of I suppose a lot of my clients are super busy moms, like even busier than me. Like they're probably like working, studying, have loads of kids, mightn't have as good support with their husbands. Like they might, like some of my clients now might have husbands that are farmers and out working as well and doing really long hours, or they might be traveling for work a lot. And that's really hard. So we always kind of go for a case by case basis. Like I'm kind of saying to some of them, if you can just do a 15-minute workout today for me, that's enough. Like next week we'll try and do a 30-minute one. It's just
Yeah.
anything is better than nothing is what I always say. And it's more for your mind and stuff as well.
And if somebody's listening and they want to find out how to book you, talk to you, what's the route?
Just my Instagram, really, Caroline Coffey Coaching. And like I'm always advertising when my challenges are coming up. We're in the middle of a challenge now at the moment. So our next one will be starting in January. But I have something exciting come up for Black Friday as well, which is going to be more of an affordable package for people. So yeah, just contact me on Caroline Coffee Coaching on Instagram and I'm on Facebook as well. So yeah, like I just really love helping people, and just seeing that it doesn't have to be miserable and you can fit in your runs and everything. And the one thing actually after the marathon is loads of people contact me saying, do you know, I might like people that are much older than me, they're kind of saying, do you know what? I might actually do a marathon as well. Like, am I mad thinking it? I'm like, oh my God, you're not mad. You should just try it. Because I thought I was mad a year ago when I said it as well. Because as I said, I struggled to do 5K and then I ended up doing a marathon. And when I look back now, I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Do you know?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
all about like the training. Like when you train for something properly, you'll get it done. Do you know?
yeah.
And it's a case of like, and actually that's the other thing is like when I actually got the training block, that's the first time when I properly stuck to my 3 runs a week because I had to, because you had a goal in mind. So this time now I'm after actually taking out signing up with a running coach because I just
Okay.
felt like I did it myself last time. I used the Runner app, which is really good. But I find just for the accountability now, I decided to get a coach. So I signed up with Noel Carroll. Do you know him?
Nope.
He's brilliant. He's on Instagram, but like he's just so supportive. And I just said like I just really want the accountability, do because when I finish a run, I have to send him a screenshot of like how I got on or whatever, and that makes me get out. Because other times, the way life gets busy with kids or whatever, and you're like, I don't have time for now today. Whereas now I'm making time for it. I'm like, I have to do it because I can't not do it. When I have a marathon. So what I'm always saying to my clients as well is sign up for a goal. Like it could be a 5K race or it could be 10K race or something, just to once you have a goal in mind, you will actually get out and do it more.
Yeah,
Because if you don't have anything to work towards, you're way more likely just to put on the long finger all the time because life is so busy. You'll always put it on the long finger. Do you know?
absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting when you talk with the coach and accountability. Even last night, I was doing a session at on the track. I'm with Eagle AC Running Club,
Oh yeah.
and they have a track session. But my coach had given me a session and said, try and go for 5K pace. Now, Runna and all the apps, they are great actually. But
Mm,
the good thing about a coach is I can just message them back and going, are we talking about the target that I want for next year, 5K pace, or the 5K pace that I'm doing now? And, he just comes back and oh, go on, push yourself and try and do you know what I mean? Those little things.
yeah,
And as I'm running
absolutely.
around, my head is going, he'll be looking at, at my Strava now. Do you know what I mean? And he
Oh,
may not,
absolutely,
but
yeah.
so the
It's the
accountability,
accountability. Whereas if you're a runner, you've no one to be accountable to.
yeah,
It's like,
absolutely. Yeah. And
no,
I
it is a
think
great app.
it
It is a
is,
great app, but at the end of the day, it's AI. So, if you've injuries or anything like that, it's not going to, it's still
yeah.
going to tell you to do your run next week. Do you know? Whereas you can't beat the real life coaching, I suppose.
Well, I mean, obviously, in your game, you're going to say that, but it is absolutely true. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And,
Yeah, well, I wasn't even on with my coaching there now, but I meant with the running. Do you know, it's just having that support there. Hopefully now, yeah.
but it is the same thing though, isn't it? Because you talk about taking person case by case. That's the one thing that you're not going to get from an app that
Yeah.
someone can talk to you about whatever it is in their lives and go, I can't do Wednesdays or I can't do Tuesdays or, what if I miss something on what do I do? Those sort of things that an app might answer, but it's not going to be the same and it's not going to have the same reassurance as
Yeah.
such.
I just feel people need accountability as well. Like if you're checking in with a coach every Monday morning and you have to like fill out a form to say how your week's been or whatever, I think that's the difference between like stopping yourself after one glass of wine on Saturday night. You'd be like, oh no, I'm checking in Monday morning now. I don't want to be up on the scales and sure I'm wasting my money. Do you know? So it's
Yeah.
the accountability factor. And I actually did a post on this the other night and I was saying, like anyone can Google how to lose weight and you'll get the answer. But it's like the real life experience, I suppose, the experience of like the tips I give, like every week when ladies are checking in, I'm giving them tips. I'm like, oh, if you just increase your fiber now in that meal by adding like 2 kiwis, leave the skin on, you get the golden kiwis and whatever, your fiber will increase. That'll keep you really full. And then you'll find later you won't be picking at the chocolate because you've eaten loads. And I just find a lot of people coming to me are actually under eating, even though like you think, oh, I'm putting on loads of weight. I don't eat much, whatever. Like a lot of women are under eating, they're skipping breakfast, they're having picking at lunch, and then in the evening they're having big dinner and chocolate, raining chocolate because they've eaten hardly nothing all day. And that cycle is what I see probably 90% of the time.
Yeah. And it's just as you're saying that, I'm kind of thinking that's probably why running even helped me because I run in the morning, so I make sure I have a better breakfast than I used to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then obviously after the run and lunch, I'm probably eating a bit more. And I don't snack as much as I used to do mid morning and mid afternoon. So yeah,
Because you've had a decent breakfast, yeah.
yeah,
And the carb loading is interesting, isn't it? Because it kind of goes against like what I teach all the time is like high fiber, high protein. And then when you when I was doing the carb load, it's low fiber, moderate protein, and high carbs, which it was kind of hard to get used of mentally for me because I'm so used of the focus being on protein and all of a sudden the focus is on oh my God, I'm going to have 2 bananas because the carbs are so good or whatever.
yeah.
So parts of the carb load were fun actually, but parts were hard, like the forcing down the food the night before was very tough because I just had no appetite with the nerves, which is
I
one thing that kind
know.
of threw
Yeah,
me a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I think also, when you're thinking about being healthy and things, and you're just eating loads of pasta and all the stuff that people say is just stodgy will stick, but when you're on your long run on a Sunday, you appreciate not having too much fiber and too much protein.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. The feeling's something that's like hard to get used of. But like I remember doing the Cork half marathon last year and there was so many people dropping like flies around me in the last like 1 or 2K. I never seen anything like it. I was actually shocked. So that's why fueling is so important because I think for
Yeah.
I suppose for half marathons, people push themselves on a lot as well, and in the heat and stuff like that. But it was literally like every second person was dropping, and I was like, "Oh my God, this was such an eye opener for me." I never saw that in the marathon because there is no pushing on in the marathon.
Yeah, yeah.
Marathon is the struggle from get go, like, but there was no one dropping around me in that anyway.
In Dublin, there was a few more. It was more like muscle people pulling up with
Yeah,
hamstring or a
injuries.
calf.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Cork was just people collapsing and everything. It was like I'm talking about half
yeah,
marathon time, and it was just like
yeah. I wonder is it because it was the half? Yeah.
yeah. I don't think they respected enough, or they think it was a lot of younger people as well, where they think, "Here, I'll be grand."
Yeah, and I've heard people before saying, "Oh, I went out in the launch and then I ran a marathon, it was grand, like, or and they're trying to like show off, but I'm like, that's not funny because you're literally putting your life at risk, like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
getting the ambulances down. It's just so yeah, fueling was really important for me, and I was always the mentality I prefer to overfuel than underfuel
yeah,
because that was a fear of mine that you collapse or something, and it's a lot of pressure in your heart and stuff as well. So I was really conscious of that. And my poor mom was praying for the whole day. She was like, God. And then the one thing when I signed up for Cork City Marathon is breaking the news to my mom. And that was the hardest bit. I was like, yeah, I'm doing another marathon. I was very scared to tell her. And she was like, oh, Jesus. But yeah, she's really worried. And I said, you don't need to be worried about me at all because I'm slow. It's the ones pushing on for the sub 3 are probably more at risk because
but
I'm taking a grand pace.
I think it's important though to say though that I think, and I had Sinead Power on a few weeks back that did Dublin in 7 hours, and I think those of us that are +4, we're running an awful lot longer, and we've got an awful lot more of running to do in the marathon. Do you know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
it's a huge achievement. Do you know? And I think, yeah, so we should always celebrate that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like when I put up that post about being disappointed, the majority, I'd say 90% of the comments were saying that, like, going, it's much harder because you were out there for longer and whatever. Now it's kind of, that's kind of something I've seen online before, like going, is a faster run harder than a longer run or whatever. I think both, like if you're in for like 2.5 hour run or a 6 hour run, I think both are like pushing to their limit. So like it's probably equally as hard to be honest, because I don't think like the pace they stick at for that many 42 kilometers, I don't think I could do for 1 kilometer, like to be
Yeah,
honest, no matter what,
absolutely. But you
So
signed up for
they blow my mind as well. Like, yeah, I'm in awe of people who run fast.
so you signed up for Cork next year. So we'll have to get you back on around that
I'd
time
love that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, to
Hopefully,
talk.
hopefully I'll do it and probably improve my time. Hopefully, a bit with my running coach now and stuff as well.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting to see developments from the app to an actual running course to see how you're getting
Yeah,
on. But
yeah.
our time is ticking down here, so it's amazing. I always find it amazing that time just flies by. You can almost have 2 episodes with a conversation we're having. So
I know,
it's been
especially with runners because we love talking about running, don't we?
that's the idea, isn't it? Well, listen, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule and
Thanks, and thank you so much for having me on.
thanks for being on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. And that was episode 17 of the Middle of the Pack podcast with my guest, Caroline Coffey. And I do hope you enjoyed this week's show. You can like and follow us on all the social media platforms, and really appreciate you listening and subscribing and all the feedback you've been giving us. So, as I said, I hope you enjoyed this week. And tune in again next week for another exciting and everyday guest from an everyday running community. That's what we're all about, celebrating the ordinary runner. Thanks for listening and keep on running.